What are three, four things that you think has changed about this city as you reflect back? Changes that have been good and changes that have been difficult about the city as a resident.
I'll try to be really brief. I'll just say single sentences. It had imagined itself as a small town. It's become a big city, and that transition is not complete yet. Two, rapid expansion meant real estate prices went up, and mistakenly people thought they can sell the house for $1 million or, or several million, whatever. They sold their properties, moved to somewhere else, but they got smaller homes and their lifestyles became smaller than before. That resentment is there in some families even today. Okay, they got physically displaced from the city because people who wanted to live in the city, bought up these properties very quickly. That displacement, till it gets settled down, is this marketing for spaces to bring people to performances, cultural events, speeches, seminars, whatever seminal thinking, all that will happen when people settle. They're not yet settled because they've been displaced. And the third thing I will say is that this city has accepted change and embraced it. There is no resentment.
The city of new beginnings.
It has embraced it. They'll be really irritated, well, to that Kannada boards pulling down thing, English boards pulling down or tearing down, what you would call vandalism, for instance. That is, it is some quarter of the political space, talking. The public may not be so interested in it. But my own feeling is that the public is not against it, the Kannada public, because they feel that, why can't you actually put a Kannada name as well there? That is all it is. This accepting, you think this fault line is there, it is actually much smaller than before, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's very to include you, instead of I tell the Kannada said this, okay? The problem with you people is that you're refusing to include them, I say. See, you're imagining it from money. They imagine it from cultural confidence. You get it?
Absolutely.
So I'll say you make a Kannada film, you're willing to go to Bangkok to get, work done. You have AI. You have DreamWorks in Bangalore. You have Technicolor in Bangalore. All 13 floors, he's got employees. Mm-hmm. You don't want to go to him. You want to go somewhere else. You don't want to include them in your cultural world. I tell the Kannada film side, theatre people also. Actually, as a Kannadiga, I identify myself as such. I feel I try my best to be talking to everybody, okay? I don't sulk, okay, about this. But I feel like if you can create through this, a space for conversation between tradition and change, and I would love to be a part of that.
Okay. We have to do that. Ravi, your reflections on Bangalore and how the city has changed.
See, in reality, it's an overgrown cantonment town. It's way beyond its carrying capacity. It's one of the few large cities in the world which doesn't have a water source river next to it. We have to get it from Kaveri. These are all his. And the pace of growth that has particularly happened, and I would say particularly from about 1990s, post-liberalization 2000, the decadal growth of the order of 48% per decade, which is 4% per year, is about the fastest growth rates for a city of that size anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
Now, this would have tested the best of administration and governance systems. We don't have that. So consequently, the mess that you see overall in the context of way Bangalore has gone haphazardly, development, flouting of rules, whatever, etc., which has led to the kind of city that we have got and the traffic gridlock, is partly a result of this rapid overgrowth, absence of good governance and administrative structures to be able to manage it in a more thing. So that's one change. That growth with it has brought these infrastructural challenges. The other recent phenomena now is what I would call the entry of the millennials into the workforce and into the space. If I take the most recent
And Gen
trends,
Z and Gen Alpha.
yeah, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever Gen they're called. And with millennials, and I'm talking here more about the educated, obviously the middle class plus, and not so much. They come with a different set of characteristics. In my experience of having dealt with them, and I've worked with quite a few of them, they are highly opinionated. They're very, very different from what our generation was. I call myself as a sandwich generation. We've been sandwiched between our parents and our children. We've actually got hammered on both sides at
Yes.
one level, if I can call it that. While the younger generation, their whole attitude is loyalty. If you want loyalty, go join the army or some such thing. They will just quit the job on a whim. They will take a break here while studying without a thought. These were unthinkable thoughts when we were growing up.
Organization man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you had to go stand in queues and get those forms and get into those colleges to take break, etc. So, of course, it's come because the earlier generation has been successful financially. India as a country has grown. And consequently, what you're seeing in the context of the composition of the workforce and the white collar thing, there is a certain change that is happening. And that's the nature of the world. Ours has been a little more rapid. And with this technology and changing modes and the like, we need a lot more adaptive reflexes as individuals and as society to be able to react to these
So what
changes.
does it mean for the cultural landscape? Because these are the people who are going to be consuming.
We have to realize that digital also has a space in the context of arts and culture, this thing. In the context of social media, marketing, outreach, etc., there's a whole lot of new tools. The town hall conversations of the different WhatsApp groups and various other things. There's a whole new evolution which has meanings for the arts and culture spaces in terms of accessibility of and existence of those kind of channels for people who are in the arts and culture space to think about how to leverage them for the greater purpose of arts and culture. But finally, what I feel is as a society evolves and let's say in GDP terms or the GDP per capita terms, you start improving, the importance of public squares, the importance of arts and culture in people's life is going to keep on increasing with all this kind of prosperity and which is bound to come. Spaces where you can have reasoned conversation, the public squares of old, without getting into, rages or polarized thing that you're seeing right now, you are going to see that change happening. And arts and culture will play a big role in making that town square a more accessible space. There are tough questions that people will have to answer as a result, because that is the purpose of arts and culture, to question, to keep probing, to question. And I think that you're going to see some positive change.
For stories like this, keep following us. From Code to Culture, our podcast. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media.